Hey class, this video is on reflection. Our last video was on transformations. Reflection is one of those types of transformations. So a couple things that we need to know about it is all reflections are congruent. That just means that it has the objects that are being reflected have the same shape and size. And also the pre-image and image. So pre-image is before you reflect it, image is after you reflect it. They're going to be what we call equidistant to the line of reflection. So they're going to be the same distance away. Now we typically reflect one of three lines. It's either going to be the y-axis, the x-axis, or the line y equal to x. That's just a diagonal line with a positive slope. So let's go and talk about the y-axis if we reflect about that. So a reflection changes something. What I want to do is actually reflect it, and then we're going to fill out this part and also its property. So let's say we have the point, and I already put A, B, and C for all of these. So let's look at this first one. A is 3, 4. So that's 3 to the right and 4 up. If I'm just going to label A right there. If I were to reflect that about this line, so I already drew a line, I highlighted it so I just can focus on that. It's going to be on the other side of the y-axis. So if I just kind of count over here, it's going to be right over here. So we have A over here. A prime will be over here. So A prime is our image. Notice how they're both equidistant. It also forms a perpendicular line, these points and then the y-axis. So this new coordinate is -3, +4. Next one is B, so that's a -1, 5. So that's 1 to the left, 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be B. Now we're starting on the left side, so if I reflect it, it's going to be on the right side. So that'll be over here, right? We're 1 away from the line, so our image is also going to be 1 away from the line. That's B prime. And that coordinate over there is 1, 5. And the last one is 2, -1. That's going to be 2 to the right and 1 down. This is C, so if I reflect that, it'll be over here. And that coordinate is -2, -2, comma, -1. Now what I'm hoping that you do is just note, there's a pattern that's happening from the pre-image to the image, right? They're pretty much the same numbers, but there's a minor difference. If you look at the X part of the coordinates, they're all different signs, right? We had a +3, it's now negative. -1 is now positive. +2 is now a negative. All the y's, though, they're the same. So reflecting about the y-axis, a reflection changes the sign of the x value. So the coordinate here, the property, if we start with the coordinate x, comma, y, it'll become -x, comma, y. Negative x just meaning the opposite of what x is. So if it's positive, it's negative. If it's negative, it'll become positive. And that the y value still stays the same. All right. So we demonstrated here on the coordinate grid. What does it look like? We noted those points and just noticed that there's a pattern to this. Okay, x-axis. So I already highlighted over here. I have A, B, and C. We have different coordinates. Let's go and reflect that. First, let's find these points. 3, -5. That's 3 to the left, 5 down. I'm going to put A. Now I'm no longer reflecting about the x-axis or y-axis. I'm reflecting about the x-axis. So whatever is below it will go above it. And whatever is above will go below. So this is looks like 5 below this line. So it's going to be 5 above. Now I'll put A prime there. That coordinate is 3, 5. The next one, -4, -2 is 4 to the left and 2 down. That'll be B. So where is B prime? It's going to be 2 above this line. That coordinate is -4, +2. And the last one is 0, 4. 0, 4 is just 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put C there. So where is C prime? It is, instead of being 4 above, it'll be 4 below on the same line on the y-axis. So it'll be right over here. So that's where C prime is, and that coordinate is 0, -4. So just looking at, again, noticing the pattern, we have 3, -5, it became 3, +5. -4, -2 became -4, +2, and 0, 4 became 0, -4. So what's happening there? The changes are all coming in the y value. So when you reflect about the x-axis, a reflection changes the sign of y. So what's happening here is the x is going to be the same, so I'm just leaving it as x. But the y is the opposite, so instead of having a positive y, we're just going to have a negative y. Right? Negative y not meaning every y value becomes negative, it just means it's going to be the opposite. So if it's negative, it becomes positive, and vice versa. And it's a little bit different for when you reflect about this line. It is y equal to x, where it has a y-intercept at 0 and a slope of 1. All these points form a straight diagonal line. So let's look at what happens. And this one's a little bit harder, right? We don't have a straight like vertical or horizontal line. It's now diagonal. So let's try to figure out what property goes here by actually reflecting. So 5, negative 2, that's going to be 5 to the right and 2 down. I'm going to label that as A. So if I were to reflect this, ignoring the y-axis and the x-axis, if I were just to look at this line and this line, or this point in this line, I would just reflect it. It would go somewhere over here. It specifically goes to negative 2, 5. Notice how those are the same distance away. It forms a perpendicular just meaning like it crosses at a right angle, perpendicular set of lines. So that's where A prime is. So that's negative 2, positive 5. Negative 3, 0, that's 3 to the left, and just right there, that's going to be B. So if I were to reflect this about this line, it would just be on the other side of it, that being at, so that's where B prime is. And that is 0, negative 3. So just try to keep in mind, like, what's the pattern here? And the last one is 2, 6. That's where C is. So that's 2 up, or 2 to the right, 6 up. C, so where does C prime go? That is going to be, I believe, right here. C prime. That'll be 6. That coordinate is 6, positive 2. So just note what's happening here, right? 5, negative 2 becomes negative 2, 5. Negative 3, 0 becomes 0, negative 3. It's just being switched. So what's happening here is a reflection switches x and y. So how do I write that? Instead of xy, we're going to have yx. All right, guys, that's pretty much all that we're working on today. We're going to be reflecting points, but also like shapes like triangles, quadrilaterals, that type of thing. Let me know if you guys got questions. Bye.